Welcome everybody to the 6th episode of The Session. What's going on, DanceFam? Today we got a special show for you because we have 3 somewhat special panel members. And they all happen to be Culture Shock artistic directors. Culture Shock DC, that is. We're going to talk about Michael Jackson Black or White video presented by Tobias Ellehammer. Talk about dancer discrimination, if it exists or not, and we're going to ask them how they led their professional dance team of Culture Shock DC. So let's get into it and let's meet our panelists. Let's start over there. Wow. No, okay, we'll start with Greg. Greg David, how are you, man?
I'm wonderful.
Cool. Right now, other than Culture Shock DC and leading it as an artistic director, you are the founder of Coverboy.
Yeah.
And you were directing Phunktions of College Park.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just a leader in general.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
It's nice, huh?
It's fun.
Just kind of falling into that role.
It's very busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you tired from all the work?
What's tired? Yes, I'm fully tired all the time. I'm tired right now.
Oh, man. So, how is Culture Shock doing now?
It's good. Right now we're working, we're doing prep on our Volume 3 showcase.
And that's happening soon?
Yep. End of September 24th and 25th.
So you must be tired.
Fully tired.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
To his left, we have his predecessor in Culture Shock DC, Victor Adebusola.
Yo.
How's it going, man?
I'm good. Hi, everybody.
Hello. So, other than being the former artistic director of Culture Shock DC, you're on the Tito BoyScouts, and you led dynamic dance team, or dance troupe, or team,
troupe. I feel like we interchange it sometimes, but yeah.
In College Park also. Also, you happen to be a teacher in the George Mason University dance department.
Yep.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just teaching all around.
All the time. Teaching literally Monday through Friday now. Yep. Every day. But it's fun. I enjoy it.
That's good. I mean, you got to.
Yeah.
There's no other way you could do it.
Definitely.
Cool. To his left, we have a returning member, a member of the DanceFam, the actual team. His predecessor in Culture Shock DC.
I'm a predator.
JV Valencia. Jemuel Valencia.
Jemuel. What's up, guys? I'm back.
Welcome back. Obviously, he's part of DanceFam, Tito BoyScouts. He started Major Definition, or helped co-found it at least.
Yes.
What else is there? That's pretty much it.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Do you miss Culture Shock?
I do. I miss the camaraderie and the shows and stuff. The work it was fun.
Who's lying?
Overall, I liked it. So
cool.
Sure. I missed it.
So what's great about these 3 guys? Yeah, they all happen to be artistic directors of Culture Shock, but I feel like they've led the team in different ways, each of them, and they all had different points of view, and they all have a different sense of direction. So we'll get to that in topic 2, but before we get to that, we're going to review this video, Michael Jackson Black or White, presented by Tobias Ellehammer.
Dope video.
Which is pretty good, in honor of Michael Jackson and his birthday, and in light of what's happening across the world, mainly in the United States, actually, which is close to home for us, which is home for us. So this video kind of hits home for a lot of people and is very relevant for today. Before we get started, though, if you want to follow or skip to a particular section or topic, just go down in the description. There'll be times, just click the link. If you're watching on the DanceFamtv website, which I have not mentioned yet, then there's no other way except for scrolling. So please keep in mind that what we say is our opinions, and we don't mean any harm or negativity towards anybody or anyone that we talk about. It's just the way we feel, and everyone has opinions, even you do at home. So try not to discriminate, huh? With what we're about to say. Count how many times we say that. All right, let's get into it. Michael Jackson, Black or White, presented by Tobias Ellehammer. Let's start with what we liked about the video. Let's start with JV.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I think what really resonated with me was the fact that it hit a lot of places that dance is universal. And I think just recently traveling to London, kind of wanting to have that travel bug more, kind of invigorated me. Like there's people like us that have the same lifestyles, same goals, same interests that we can connect with, and dance is overall like a universal language. And that's what I think the message of the video really, really, for me, got across. Right now, that's what
So, like, if with all the violence and discrimination happening in the world, we always have dance to connect us? Is that kind of...
I think as far as that goes, like, dance kind of transcends ethnicity, transcends gender, it transcends could transcend sexual orientation. To me, it's just something that we can all kind of have a universal language to speak with, and we don't even need to have I guess words. It's all very like verbal. I mean, not verbal, like body language, you know. So
Dang, right off the first opinion, we get real deep with it.
I mean, sorry.
I was just gonna. I was gonna say I like the. I really liked. I really enjoyed the videography. Like I thought the settings were awesome. Like it was filmed very well. The dancing was dope. It was it's very. I feel like you don't quite see that type of dancing as much anymore. It's just like really athletic. Really sharp. It's just very, it's great for like a camera. Like, I feel like I could appreciate it if I was watching them dance, if I was in the setting and I was like, like 50 feet away, I feel like I could still appreciate it, because it was like, it was just big, full dancing that you just don't see anymore. It's like kind of the dance that I fell in love with that made me want to dance,
Yeah, you're right. We don't see that a lot anymore.
No, not
It
really.
tends to be like sharp, but also abrupt now. This one kind of just flowed with everything.
He's like, I think I've seen that some of his other work, and he's just like very good at that. So, it was cool to see like some of the points JB touched on. It was really awesome to see different locations. It was very, I guess the universal language of dance was I think that message is like very apparent. And then just. I don't know. Yeah, I think I was really sold on like the video, like the videography and like the filming of it and the cuts. There was some cool like I don't know, like there's one time he popped up out of the behind like the girl was dancing and I was like,
that's my favorite part. I'm not sure how they did that. But damn,
it was awesome. So like I'm a big fan of it as well.
Was that in Chicago setting? Is that?
I feel like that might have been.
So.
Well, I know there was a bridge in the background, and I can't tell what bridges are.
I was wondering if that was the Sears Tower.
Possibly.
Sure.
I'm not gonna guess. Greg, what do you think?
I really loved it. I think my biggest point is that I think the video really achieved what it set out to do. It started out with an interview about how a woman felt about what's happening in the world, and then it closed out with something to the effect of love is our religion. And I think especially with everything that's happening, we get so focused on like being safe and fearing for our lives and how do we protest this and all this and how to like help the situations. But I think a lot of us forget that love is a unifying factor. We are bound by love. And I think the video really helped with that. And I think it being around the world helped with, it showed the unity of everybody. Do you know what I mean? And how not only dance, but how love really holds us together.
Yeah.
And I think it really achieved that.
True. I kind of wish. Okay, well, before we get to that, what I also
so here we go.
I definitely liked all those things about it. again, like I gotta say it again, like that part where he just kind of pops out of behind the girl. Like I guess it zoomed in and he ran in real quick and then popped out, or maybe it's just edited really well in post.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it stood out for me. I liked how much of pseudo locking there was in this.
there's
like I see pseudo locking because it happens for maybe like 4 or 5 counts and then call it quits on that, or even like they kind of just mold it into his normal choreography and just more normal movement. So that was for me that was a good way of integrating a style into it if you're not gonna like fake it at least.
Yeah.
Because most of the time if someone tries to integrate any kind of style, it's kind of half-assed and kind of you can see the technique isn't there at all. But with this, yeah, maybe the full technique of the style isn't there, but it was integrated well with his movement.
With the choreography.
That it fit.
Yeah,
and I wasn't hating it. I tend to hate a lot of pseudo locking that I see.
You're very particular.
I am I guess because I feel a certain way. I mean, I have an opinion. Like, if people see me and how I dance, they may not like it, and I can't stop them from that. But yeah, I'm particular when it comes to locking because it feels like they're just doing it just to do it. I guess. But when they were doing it, I don't know, it felt right on them. So, and that's all I look for, honestly.
Yeah,
like how good it feels.
Yeah.
When I was going off of that, like, I think it was pretty cool how it started off with a popper. And then it incorporated the b-boy choreography into it. And I think I think it was in France or whatever, but I think that to me kind of sort of set the tone. But then I was kind of like a little let down because like, oh, well, where's the rest of the styles, or where's the like sort of, if you were going to different locations, like what is kind of local to the dancers there? What are they strong at other than everyone's universal choreography? And where's the rest of the styles, or where's the rest of like, oh, we're known for this in this area, you know? And I think I would have liked to see that more.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like going off of what Vic said, it was definitely filmed well. Mike Dones filmed it. And he does a lot of good work, pretty much. And he got several trips to go anywhere with this. So if anything, he had a really nice vacation.
Can I be your assistant? Can I help you out? That's awesome.
Man.
What else did you guys like about this? Did you guys like the message? I know you touched a lot on this, and you did too. But what else about the message, especially in today's, like, what's going on in the world today? Does it really hit home for you guys?
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
I think it's it's one of those things where you can't knock the message because it's a good message, but you don't want to, you take the risk of making like an issue that's a lot more like, that's a little deeper, a little bit more nuanced. Like you kind of make it shallow by like, you know, kind of blanket statements like love is everything, which I mean it is, but like, it's like it's a privilege to almost be able to say something like that, you know, like versus, do you know what I'm saying? So like, I love that. I didn't want to, it's one of those things where I always find myself, cause I'm like, I don't want to make it deeper than it needs to be, but also I'm like, but I'm also like, yeah, that's the case, but not really, you know? So like, or kind of, sort of, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. So like, I think I was pushed to believe that because of like the opening and the ending. But if it was just the dancing, I wouldn't have even thought that. You know, I would have literally just been like, oh dang, you know, I get it.
It's like, oh wow, you went to different places.
Yeah, and you know, and it's and people are dope dancers no matter where they are, and like dancers, and you can do great things where, you know what I mean, and dances in the language is universal. But with the stuff in the beginning and at the end, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well then, I think I see where you are trying to go a little bit more, and I'm like, well then it you know, it kind of like halfway did both, but didn't really make the full connection. Does that make sense?
Got you.
Like, I think I see what you're saying. Like, now that I'm realizing what you're saying, he could have made a better effort of saying exactly what he means rather than saying love is our religion. Because when people talk about this video, they're going to talk about the dancing and the beautiful videography and the beautiful locations, and not necessarily
it's like
what it's supposed to be about, you know?
don't discriminate and don't like violence.
Don't kill people.
Don't kill people. We should dance together.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so in, I don't know, it's going to sound weird. I'm not the moderator, but I have a question. But like, you know, like I thought, you know, in the beginning, so, cause what was kind of, I mean, I guess I'd like to hear how you interpreted the beginning, because I remember watching and there's a lot of, you know, scenes of just like different protesting and stuff. And I mean, I think when I see something like that, to me, like protesting is like the most like grassroots, like best way to just like get out there. It's not safe, you know, but it really is like the people standing up for something, like, you know, like they felt wrong and they're like fighting the power, right? But the way it was put in the video kind of almost looked like, oh, there's so many protests everywhere and that's like it's bad, you know. So I was like, but I think that's right in the beginning. I wasn't sure how to feel. Like, are you about to tell me that like, or am I supposed to feel that like protesting and all this stuff is like you know, these are bad images of what's going on in the world.
Well, people are doing something for a reason.
Exactly. Or are these like, these inspiring pictures, like, you know, people protest, you know, I mean, but it's, again.
Okay, so let's get into things that we kind of didn't like about this. So I'll start it off, but because going off of that, like, I didn't like the first part, that whole a montage of protests and violence and discrimination events in terms like and stuff like that, because it's kind of like what the like mass media does now, like on the news. They kind of show you the scary things to get you scared of certain things. Sure. So I was like, okay, I guess they're bringing me down to kind of bring me up later. Is that what's going on? Or because like after that, when I got through it and I watched the rest of like the dancing, pretty much, I was like, or I was thinking, oh, maybe the theme is, you know, if you're ever scared, there's always good people dancing around, and it's really good. But yeah, like I definitely didn't like it just because I don't think those were the right scenes or things to show to kind of get this point across, especially with the song, like what that's about. Like it doesn't matter what race you are. So that's what I thought. Well, looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, I kind of a little bit disagree, because like I actually thought it was necessary in the beginning, because after all that montage, it showed one person at the end having an interview saying, you know, like, this is practical. Like, I know this isn't practical, but like, this is what I plan to do. And this is kind of an underlining statement. Like, yes, there's all this kind of like stuff happening, but if you just filter out what's really happening, that one shed of light is going to really show or resonate with people. And that's what I think was why it was necessary. Yeah, it made me feel kind of like a little bit of chaos and turmoil inside. But then once I saw that one girl, is like, you know, kind of like, it makes sense to me.
I thought it was just a cheap tactic.
I feel as though like I feel it was good to see those things, because that's what's really happening. Sure. That's what's happening. But I think what I liked about it was the fact that it was those images plus a woman who was still maintaining her positive attitude about it, you know.
I did like that. I like that too. I would have been more okay with it, like I said, if they chose better things to show. Sure. More relevant things. Like if they stuck with like the police brutality things going on here. I felt like, actually, I don't think he showed any of that stuff. Like the shootings, police shootings, stuff like that.
I think there was one part. There was like a scene it was a scene from Baltimore, actually. I think them protesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think he touched on it a little.
Okay. Cool. And I guess they didn't. Colin Kaepernick wasn't a thing then.
Yeah, I think it happened before. I think it happened. The video happened before that came.
Yeah. And then like they showed the Brexit protests. I was like, well, that has nothing to do with race. That's just a matter of being a part of a bigger union or not.
Sure.
I was like, that has nothing to do with the song for me. Like I said, and I saw other things that just weren't relevant. There were Turkish protests too, which I guess is kind of relevant, but there were just some other things I didn't like. Sure. Or I just feel like didn't kind of fit with what they were trying to do to me, what the montage was doing to me.
I think it was like well intentioned, but
yeah,
like
definitely.
Yeah, but
I don't go in the world saying, "Oh, everyone's out for me." Like,
Sure.
like they're definitely doing something for the right reason.
Sure.
I'd like to believe.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anything else about that montage?
Not really.
I guess what we didn't like about the actual dancing or video.
Yeah. So moving on. What about the dancing that you guys didn't like, or the rest of the video? Pretty much, the rest of it is dancing.
There was only one part that I didn't get, but JV explained it to me later. I didn't like that there was one random ballerina. She was beautiful and talented, but I didn't understand what purpose she served in that moment. But apparently,
yeah, it's the Kremlin in Russia, so there's a big a ballet company there, and so I guess kind of accenting that area's dancer culture.
And I would have been more okay with that if they did that for the rest of the locations. You touched on this earlier, saying that you kind of wished they would pick styles, or they would show the style of that area, whatever it happens to be, whether it's choreo or freestyle, whatever it is, kind of just incorporate it within each thing. And I think the reason why it didn't do that is because Tobias kind of choreographed pretty much the whole thing. He may have had help, because I think he did have help, and certain parts may have not been choreographed by him, but I'd say the majority of it, 90% of it, was done by him. So that was one thing, and that kind of goes into another thing I didn't like, was how after a while you started to see repetitive moves just because he choreographed it. So it's just he's gonna repeat himself eventually.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you can't help it, but for me, it was enough to notice, because it happened at least 3 times for me.
Sure.
Especially with the pseudo locking. Well, there's that, and a lot of movements that he does naturally to him. So I mean, I can't knock it because it's what he does, but it's just something I didn't like. Sure. Vic.
I know we're not talking about what we liked anymore, but I just remember there's something I liked. And it's about the dancing though.
Yeah.
He's in it. He dances in almost every scene.
Yeah.
But you forget, because he tucks himself away, and it's really showcasing everyone else, which I really like.
Yeah.
It shows just how versatile he is, but also it's just I had to watch it a couple times. I'm like, oh, there he is back there. In every part, it was really I appreciated that. Him showcasing the dance. I honestly, there wasn't much that didn't. Double negative. I liked pretty much all the dancing. The one ballerina part, I was a little I think it was, maybe she got a little washed away because there were other dancers behind her. And I think that's where I was kind of well, just let her do it on her own, or let's watch her, let's really appreciate her, and just have the other dancers do another part. It's a long song, or
yeah.
But other than that, I do see the repetitiveness. I think that's just in the nature of choreographing a long song like that, and choreographing in sections. Because when you choreograph in sections, then you
forget what happened.
Exactly.
Before,
so
and in different countries because he's traveling.
Sure. So who knows? He could have been making it on the plane. He could have been making so it's it happens, but wasn't too much of an issue for me, because I think to me, it was such good dancing. I was just still kind of bopping. Anyway,
bop, 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 straight to the top.
Yes, High School Musical reference. I love it. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I was pretty. Other than that, I was pretty much set. I think. And I'm going to stop talking about what I liked because we talked about it earlier. But I also liked, I really did like the fact that just the settings that he if you catch him, or catch the dancers when people are walking by, and they're so animated and interacting with the people by, it's really natural. Yeah. And not to the sense where they're I'm going to dance in your face, but if someone comes by and they're dancing, they're their connection is they're I'll look at you and I'll keep, it's very, it was just very it was good.
it was just good.
It's that bar mitzvah dance training.
That's true. Huh?
Yeah. So I think that was, for me, that was.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I liked how natural it felt for the dancing, at least.
Sure.
I don't know where to go from here.
I won't digress anymore. I'm sorry.
I feel now that you mention it, how it was kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
I do realize that some of my favorite parts were when the movement didn't look like it was him doing it.
Yeah,
You know?
see, yeah, and you could definitely tell when like he
Mhm.
had help in the style of it.
Yeah.
Especially God, I think there was only one US location, and might be being racial here, but the all black cast.
Man, that was
I
my
don't even
favorite
think
group.
they were from the U.S.
Yeah, so I wasn't entirely sure where they were.
Yeah.
I was like, that
They
could
were
be,
so-
that
I
could
didn't
be
even
anywhere.
know. I didn't notice him in the back until I watched it again.
Yeah.
Like,
That was another part.
I noticed him. Like, I was like, there he is.
Yeah, that was my favorite group. And near the end, the
But
girl
that was
in the
just
black,
so. Yeah. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
that group was my favorite, and the girl in the black at the very near the end.
Yeah.
She
was good
moved
too.
so incredibly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because it didn't, because he's very sharp and clean, and
Mhm.
she was very groovy, very flowy.
She was just like,
yeah,
yeah.
that was nice.
I was like, oh man, I can kind of feel like energy from her.
Yeah.
But going back to like the wherever that location was with all black cast, like I don't know where they were, but their style is just so. I think that was the only one that was unique to the location, at least for me.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, or just unique in general, because it was the only one that was different for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
It just felt raw.
different
Mhm.
feeling
Mm.
like that. A different. Woo.
Sorry, guys.
Michael.
A different feeling. Yeah, I think going on. I lost my train of thought. Well, thinking. I think so I guess what I wanted to say is maybe there were styles or more stuff that they filmed that could have not made it to the cut, because like it is only
true.
it's a pretty short song,
Mhm.
and so
I thought it was long.
okay, well
Sorry.
you only have enough time to
with
do
with
certain,
that many sections
yeah,
and stuff. I get what you're
to
saying.
go on in different places.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to interject with, but I
It's just too raw.
yeah.
Sorry.
It was like, I just,
Don't you hate it when that messes you up?
DanceFamtv, guys.
Oh jeez.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Anyway. Okay. Another thing I didn't quite enjoy, trying to put it in a nice way, was the ending. How he kind of ended it. Ended with just him, and he throws his
the
hat
hat
to the
down.
ground. It's a good hat, and it just landed flat. And
Yeah.
it was real solid. But it just ended there and cut to black. And then, the message came out, love is religion. I was like, well, he just kind of threw his hat on the floor. I don't know. It doesn't give me the best vibe. And I don't want to take away from Vic, but he told me like it felt anticlimactic at the end. And I had to agree. Just because that girl in the black was the last scene with him dancing, and he popped out of nowhere, and that was awesome. So that should have been like the climax and kind of should have ended it better. But from then, it kind of just drifted down, and he just threw his hat to the ground, kept pointing at it, and I was like, I'm not sure what the message here is anymore.
Sure.
Is that about Michael, like rest in peace, Michael, or are we still talking about black? It doesn't matter if you're black or white. So that's how I felt about the ending, at least.
Should have ended with another montage of like
Maybe.
like peaceful things,
Oh, that would have been nice.
or like
Well,
or
protests, they start off
yeah,
peaceful.
yeah.
He just
They
kind of
get
showed
crazy.
the
Or like-
the worst parts of it.
That's true.
or like what all like I guess humanity's has achieved in terms of like peace and like community, and how it's, I don't know, something of that nature that could have been cool, or where in the world is Carmen Sandiego theme?
I don't know. I feel like I didn't mind it. I feel like I see what you're saying about how it kind of just drifts off. I love the hat moment. It was a wow moment for me because it landed so well, so timely. It must have been 50 takes, but you got it. I don't know. It just seemed like a nice closer. I do feel
It was executed well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see another like big cast, and
Oh,
another big
yeah.
strong.
It would have been
yeah.
awesome if they got the entire cast together and made
That's
one.
a lot of money on plane tickets. Wow.
See, I think that's kind of where I stand. Where I'm always like in this space where I'm like, how do I, like, I'm trying to respect, someone else's like idea, vision, art at the same time, like, and not put it through my lens, like,
Sure.
I would have ended it because I felt the same way. I'm like, and this is clearly the part where everyone is dancing, at the end. But then I was like, he kind of made a statement,
True.
So I think, yeah, I mean, personally, I was like, okay, I thought because the part before it was dope, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't like it was like, that's like a segue or like transition into like something doper that's about to happen. Not saying that it wasn't dope, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't, and then it just kind of ended like abruptly.
Yeah, cut to black.
Yeah, it was pretty black and white. But I think like I don't know. I lost my train of thought too. I think what was I saying? But So I personally I would have liked something more to happen. But I think I kind of see where Greg's coming from too. He made a statement and it was like, and boom, we're done.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like Finn, you know.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for me. Do you guys have anything other things, likes or dislikes about this, or do you want to go ahead and give your final thoughts about this video?
Maybe before final thoughts, I think, no, actually I think it's a final thought. I'll stop.
Okay.
I think it is a final thought.
Let's start with Greg. Give your final thought about this.
I think coming in before the conversation, I enjoyed it for face value. You know, I didn't, put anything together with the montage and how it went with the video and how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
But understanding the mission of the video, it could have used more. But I think, again, for face value, it was beautiful, well done, inspiring. Yeah, it could have been more, but again, very well done.
Cool. Pick.
Cool. I think the unique part about like videos and like art and stuff is that, sometimes it doesn't have to do much to get like a message across, which I think is like, just kind of how I say it. Like it doesn't need to be that deep, but like on the flip side, like when you don't take it there, you leave it open to like, it
needs to be obvious.
Yeah, it needs to be obvious, but it also needs to be like you kind of have to give it like a fair like shot. Like so I can in the sense like you have to give the issue a fair shot, right? Or whatever you're talking about. So like to me, and I think like honestly, it might be my personal feelings about the song. Mm-hmm. Great song, love a song and jams, but when you start to think about the message that it tries to convey, like it really like kind of again like washes over everything. Doesn't matter, it's black and white. I'm like, no, it does. It matters that I'm black. It matters that you're white. It matters. You know what I mean? Like things where I just don't really necessarily agree with maybe the song, but it's a Michael classic, so I don't, I love it. So I'm like, and then you think about, then you try to put an issue on top of that again, and you're like, well, no, like I wouldn't want the message to be like, oh, dance is awesome, like, and it also doesn't matter where you are, because if dance is awesome, it's like, no, it does matter who you are. Like, JV, you're an awesome dancer because of the way you dance and who you are, not because everyone dances. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
It's kind of like more on the sense of like we should strive to like appreciate the artist that each person is, or, like, and that artist is influenced by who they are, black or white, or,
It's like they are good at what they do. They're great at what they are. It just so happens they happen to be black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever. Is that what you're getting at?
Kinda. More of like it, and it is. It not even. It just so happens. It's more like they are black,
and they are. They are.
Yeah,
they are.
like, and not by chance they are. No, they definitely are. Like, and they're also dope. Like because of it. Like the African and like it was.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like they're dope. You wouldn't get that anywhere else because they weren't that. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't get that from the same group of someone in like, in Baltimore County, because that's not not their culture. That's not it. So you can't really say it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It does matter.
So there's a little both. Bit of both sides.
Yeah. Well, you can like open up the the book and the article and write like the 50 million pager on it. But that's kind of right.
I intend to fresh sheet of paper.
So I mean, but the dancing and stuff was awesome. Like you so watched the video, but I had been like following him for a while, and I'm like a big fan of like just his movement quality is kind of bringing like just good dancing back on, putting it back on the table.
Yeah, he's sorry. I'll keep. JV, what you think?
I'm done. Pretty much nailed it on the head for, I guess, the different aspects. But for me, as far as a dance video goes, like I loved it overall. I loved the style. It was really refreshing. to see that movement. Like Vic says, it's the reason why I fell in love with dance. Like dance should be sort of a discipline that you should work towards, not something you can easily pick up from a rap video. You know, like, yes, that's the medium you can get into, like, but after that, there's a lot of work, discipline that goes into it. And that's what I really appreciated about the different, I guess, dancers. Like, everyone works toward that goal and can dance like the choreographer. But I also noticed at the end, like, there's a lot of choreographers in the credits. I wasn't sure.
I think there might have been like 5 or 6 or 7
Yeah.
that helped them, and maybe 3 that did their own sections. But then after that, it said the rest of the scenes by Tobias Ellehammer.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that could have been a good amount there.
Yeah.
So,
as far as the message, on another side of it is, I guess being where I am in life, like, it's really funny because Greg is the director now. He is sort of like still in the dance community, but he's actually expounding on like being a faculty member, teaching in different studios, like actually reaching out in another way. For me, I'm kind of like taking a step back and kind of being in my, like, I guess, over 30. Like, I'm like in a moment of like wanting to explore outside of this area. So like, like I said, I got this travel bug, and like kind of reminded me of like, there's, as dancers, we kind of also tend to stay in our bubble and like kind of want to be holding into something on our own community. Like, I know you, but like,
we'll get into that in the next topic.
Yeah. But pretty much that's what I've kind of learned to appreciate. Like, I want to travel now. I want to expound on like what else is the world offering. And that's, I think, what gave me a glimpse of like the video. Like, I want to meet new people, meet other people, and dance with them. So
can we like shout out like the fact that he like knows that many people and can do that in the first place? I was thinking about that. It just dawned on me, like, he has mad connections, like, and they're like with just like crazy, like, good dancers,
dope dancers.
You know? Like, so which says a lot, I think, about like just his, you know, his discipline, like him caring about, and his like, and just in the respect people have for him. I think so. Yeah, that's like also really inspiring. It's like, yeah, someday I'll be like that, or I want to, you know,
give love back.
No, it's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, I had a final thought, and then I lost it along the way. So, no, it's not your fault. I think it's everybody's fault. God, what? I guess it's not important. All right. Let's. So that wraps it up for that. Let's move on to topic 1. Does dancer discrimination exist? So, going off of this whole discrimination aspect in terms of the world, I kind of feel there is discrimination within dancers themselves, or the community of dance itself. And JB just touched on it with his topic, saying that dancers tend to be in their own bubble. JB, you want to expand on that?
Yeah. So like in different communities, I think we get so kind of wrapped up in knowing who's who, and like dancing like who's like dancing the choreographer they are inspired to be. And kind of, I think when it comes with age and experience, I think we start noticing that we want more out of it. But that's what I've noticed. Like, I think we forget as dancers, we discriminate in our own movement to not just reach out to our peers, but we should be reaching out to people who don't understand dance. You know, to reach out to people who maybe don't get it or wants to learn how to get it. And I think we're kind of, it's slowly like we like to travel to different dance hubs, but I feel like we have to be more aware of that, of touching on my movement can reach and transcend through music, through other people who don't even have legs, you know, or people like your parents. I know there's a lot of you out there who have parents don't really condone the dance lifestyle yet or don't get it. And it's our job to kind of make them get it. So that's kind of where I'm going with, I guess, that.
You look like you have something on your mind, Vic.
I can't talk about what I have on.
He's like,
no, I'm. But
use the bathroom.
no, I mean, I think there's discrimination. It's sad, but I mean, it's just. I think it's the nature. I don't think it's okay, but I think it's the nature of like of a performing art that's like visually based. Like, I mean, like at a very like, very like clear cut. There's things like typecasting. People like, I will not even watch you dance if you don't look the way I want you to look. That's clearly just, to me, that's clearly discrimination, right? But I mean, I think there's also like everyone has it. Almost everyone has it. I can't say everyone, but like it has like their own personal biases, like in what you like out of dance. So I think sometimes it takes a really like well-rounded, like objective person to be able to separate that and be able to appreciate like like a good dancing that's not like what you like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So like I find myself sometimes being like, oh, I didn't really like that, and I'm like, did I really not like that, or did I really not like that dancer because like
for other reasons
outside of like, is it because of the dancing, or is it because like I have a feeling about like,
or this person
easy.
Yeah, no. So like, I mean, I think that exists. I think
personality.
It sucks that like a lot of it is based on physical too. Like there's some of my like one of my favorite dances in the world like just doesn't happen to have like the best like but the body type. And that in itself like limits the opportunity they have. And then there's so much pressure for them to then like to fit a certain lifestyle where you find yourself losing who you are because you're trying to fit into something when you didn't. When like when that wasn't the reason why you started dancing or sharing dance in the first place, right? So
yeah.
I mean, and I get the difference, like if weight's a thing, for instance, I get the sense of being healthy, and like getting into shape and yada yada. I mean, I like personally, I struggle with that, like I came from one place and I was like, whoa, like I've had multiple people tell me like, you're doing great and you won't do any better unless you get in shape because people aren't even going to look at you. Like, so like, and I was like, oh, that hurts because I thought I was doing well, but like, apparently it doesn't matter because I'm fat, like, things like that. So like, it was, I mean, I made the choice to get in the shape because I wanted to just be healthier. Dance did push me there, but I think like, it motivated me, but that kind of discrimination, I think, can be like if you're not grounded and like strong enough or you have a good support system, it can be things that like turn you away from dance, which is like, it's like, to me, that's the most anti like dance thing you can do, is discriminate and then uninspire someone to dance. So discrimination happens. It sucks.
Yeah.
Anything with you, Greg?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely exists. It's show business, and that's, show business is all about image, and who you know. One thing that I was really thinking about with this topic is casting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's you'll get a very different result if you cast your friends and if you cast people that will fit your vision and fit your movement and fit the quality. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do think casting friends can be fully beneficial and be fully detrimental to what you're trying to do. Because discriminating against people you don't know, you lose the risk of unprofessionality, not knowing what they're going to be like, not knowing how they're going to move, but choosing people that you do know. Hopefully your friends are reliable, hopefully your friends can lock down your movement, but there's always a chance that your main girl does not, is going to be late, doesn't know the count.
True.
Yeah, sure. It's tough. It's tricky.
Can't move in the same way that you expect them to move.
Sure. It's like eating in rehearsal.
Oh, Carl.
My bad. That's different. That's a different topic, guys. I needed it.
Oh, hilarious.
Okay, so for for everyone watching and listening on Culture Shock, there were times where everyone's doing drills and doing warm-ups and sit-ups and conditioning.
I've heard about this.
And I'm on the side eating
Popeyes.
Eating my bowl of ramen.
Oh my god.
That's how I work out. If I don't eat, I am gonna pass out for sure.
We had freestyle rehearsal before.
There's 2 hours, 2 hours of freestyle before, and I think I was leading it at the time. And it's tiring, man. And then I burn calories so fast. God. I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's just
my metabolism is on fleek.
It's just the way it works.
Let's all do push-ups.
Because my very first Sunday Culture Shock rehearsal, which is a long one, it's like 6 hours, something like that.
That sucks.
Like halfway through, I was like, I can make it through. It's only 5-6 hours dancing. Yeah, that was a mistake. Halfway through or after freestyle, and then a little bit of choreo, and I was getting lightheaded and dizzy. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go out. And then I bought a Snickers bar, and I had energy for days.
I have a Snickers.
Hungry while I wait.
So you're not yourself.
You eat the Snickers bar. You're not yourself. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Okay, back to dancer discrimination. There are two more most common ones that I see nowadays. The first being the choreo side, the studio side,
exactly,
versus the freestyle dancers. That is the most fine line that you can find within dancers in general. I think, in my opinion, people who do choreography, people who do freestyle. There are people who trend the line and who go from both sides, and they love both. They can't.
Yeah.
But that's what I've seen a lot nowadays. Some people are like, oh, that's a freestyle like jam.
Sure,
I'm not gonna go to that. Or that's a competition performance. It's a showcase. Oh, I have no interest in that kind of dancing. It's fake. It's not real dance. Stuff like that. It's all dance.
Sure.
Dance is dance. Yeah. Dance is dance. You're dancing for a reason. You're dancing for generally it could be the same reason.
Sure.
It just so happens there are different outlets. One is more free in the sense that there are no guidelines, except there are guidelines because there's foundation.
Sure. And
then there's one where you got to look like the other person next to you, but that incorporates teamwork. Like it incorporates how well you can work together to get this point across. This work of art. It's just two different forms of art within the same medium of dance. But I don't know. What do you guys think of that discrimination or that line between choreo versus freestyle? What do you guys think? JB, since you were both a freestyle director and a choreo director.
It didn't happen that way before. Well, I guess touching on that, like the way I see it is, so dance is always like trying to get your point across, and it's trying to tell a story. So, like you said, it's one medium is a little bit more on the spot, as if you were orally telling the story, and choreography to me, or stage performance, is like everyone reading the same book, everyone going through what the author is explaining. It's just, that's sort of my interpretation of where dance is. But as far as discrimination, yeah, definitely, there's definitely a lot of dancers who prefer one or the other, and I don't know. I think there needs to be more integration. There needs to be more understanding. There needs to be more just trying, honing into one's craft in let's say in popping can be beneficial if you apply it to choreography. Like you said, pseudo locking. Like you were seeing that video and like, oh, there's like so many things you can work into that, and I think I'd want to see more of that and kind of not be separated, or I don't know, have more shows that integrate both the style, both types of outlets, but really it's all just one way. We're all telling a story together or by ourselves. So
yeah,
that's kind of where I know I'm very like neutral on this. It's just I don't know. That's how I feel.
I do think that because I feel like this is no different than discrimination between races, sexuality, demographics, other demographics like that. But just like those, I think the answer is a willingness to understand, and not necessarily a willingness to try it, other than benefiting your talent, but just a willingness to be open and understand it and learn about the culture and the history. Because if I'm a choreo dancer and I see a freestyle dancer that only does freestyle, that I don't know and that isn't very integrated in the choreo community, taking a chance, coming to shows, trying to understand how things work, a little bit of our history. What's up, girl? We girls now. We friends. You know what I mean? And, vice versa. If there's a choreo head going to freestyle jams, making an effort to talk to people and ask, about their lives, their journeys, about this event, and about the history and the culture, their eyes are going to be open and be like, okay, these people ain't so bad. They're, and there just needs to be more like willingness to be open and understanding.
I don't care what everyone says about you, Greg. You're all right. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Vic, any thoughts on that?
Well, that was loud. Sorry. I think there's discrimination there. I think it's it kind of very similar to what Greg said, and kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I think it's oftentimes, like, because we like label ourselves certain things, like we forget that we're like that we're people. Like the same way if you were like in a classroom and you like sat next to somebody and you like sparked up a conversation and you knew more about them, so you could understand like where they're coming from and why they do certain things or why they like to freestyle. Like I think it's the same thing. Like we're too busy trying to like separate this. Like, I don't think we were like intentionally separating the team, but like, like placing labels or value on like one versus the other, when you really should be thinking like, oh, Russ, like that guy Russ, who's this and that, like he's cool and outspoken, and like those things that like help me understand who the person is. And then I'm like looking at
you're cool too, Vic.
and then I'm thinking about their Russ. And I'm thinking about and then I think about their dance, like but then I feel like if I know a person better, then I'm able to appreciate like whatever they do, regardless of if it's like what I don't do or not, right? Or if I'm like I won't lie, I'm a choreo head. I like to freestyle. I didn't before. Because that's just like not the world I came from, like I was in a studio. All I was taught, I mean, I danced when I was like in my room, and that was fun. And but once you get in the studio, like the minute you get in there, you're told like this is correct and this isn't correct, and you're taught how to do stuff a certain way, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really tap into, like, very few studios are really good at actually tapping into like the creative side of like kids. Some do it well and it's awesome, but it doesn't happen a lot, right? So like you come from that mentality. And then it can be intimidating. You go to like a freestyle, you go to a jam or whatever, and you see people freestyling, and you're already on the fence because you're like, oh, I don't really know how to do it. And then you hear someone say something about like a choreo head or whatever, and then you're ultimately like, you're shut out, or reverse, I've never I'm a freestyler, and I see people get on stage and they look like they're having so much fun when they dance together. I've never done it before. Let me go to this class, and I go to this class, and people are like slaying me or chopping me up because I'm not a good dancer, and then you feel the same way, you know what I mean? So like, I think like we just need to get over, like a lot of people just need to get over themselves, and I mean everyone falls victim to it sometimes. It's if you don't have the right people around you, like pushing you to be like, yo, that's dumb, like, or that's jacked up, or you tend to do stuff like that. So. If we just remember that, like, we're people first, it's like if we just remember we're people, then you'll can appreciate. I don't know. I'm not that type of person, but it kind of does on that.
Yeah. It's tough, especially when people are teaching classes or holding, workshops, and then they label one as just locking, which happens to be just house, or then there's hip hop, which kind of incorporates,
which is like barely hip hop, and that's not shade to anyone, but like no, like
called a choreography class.
Yeah, it's not really. So
then like there's that. So it's like that's how. I mean, people are drawing lines that way.
Sure.
Even on Culture Shock itself, like there's a choreo team and a freestyle team.
Yeah.
1 year we did try merging it together, but then what happened was that we weren't getting the benefits of both sides of like people aren't reaching their potential, I guess. We're not maximizing on people's potentials in terms of their talent. So then you had to kind of separate again so that you can specialize in one thing, specialize in another.
Mm-hmm.
And integrate.
Yeah, and then find a way to integrate it after, which is tough because you guys are separate.
I feel like I feel like it ebbs and flows, like especially with Culture Shock, like where it like some years it's like it was like separate and then they're like bring it back together and then like separate again because the same issues kind of like come back and forth. So
so I mean that's just one way of discrimination.
Sure,
in my opinion. Another one that I noticed is new versus old in terms of how much experience you have in dance versus or even age.
Sure.
Like he's old now. He's not in the scene anymore. I've been around longer than I'm not personally. I'm just speaking hypothetically or in a character. Like I've been around longer than most of you guys. Like I don't like what you guys are doing now. Stuff like that. And I guess and especially with the college kids now, especially more than before. College is apparently the age where you're supposed to learn how to dance well, or like if you want to, be cool or be popular or or make it big or whatever.
Sure.
If you're older than that, then you're not doing it. You're not doing the cool type of dancing, I guess. And then you teach a workshop. They learn from you like, oh wow, this is awesome, blah blah blah, and then they kind of ignore it and then they do their own thing. So there's that whole new versus old, different mindsets definitely because definitely the experienced dancers they learn a lot more and they see things differently now than they did before. They might have had the same mentality as the younger generation now, but it's changed. So how do you deal with that kind of like that line? I guess it's another line.
Yeah.
Like, do you just kind of try and teach them like, no, this isn't the way you're supposed to be thinking, or like, we can work together well?
I feel like I just let it exist.
Really?
Know? Yeah, because when you think about it, like. JV, you come from and you as well, you come from a different generation of dance and how that's supposed to feel and look, and you can kind of even see it when we switch directors, the team looks different,
Yeah.
So sure. Like, I hate these whips, these nays, all these popular dances. I've had it. I fully had it. You know what I mean? But
that's all you do in a piece.
Yeah. But that's where dance is going. And did you dab?
I did.
I think you just sneezed.
But just like where our dance is now, who am I to say to these younger kids that what you're doing is wrong?
That's wrong.
Because it's just the evolution. It's just another step.
I don't know if it's like necessarily. I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't know if it's do evolution. Like evolution builds upon what was before, and like the previous generations endorse it. It's kind of going a different direction now. It's kind of making its own thing. It's really parallel to music now.
Yes,
like the hip hop like community in music is like getting divided in between what's happening now with the new artists coming out that's getting notoriety, and then like they don't want to be considered. That's not what we do. We do something different. And so I think that in turn it causes discrimination as well. So yeah, that's my thought. I don't know.
I'm done. I feel like the generation thing or the young or the old thing is like, that's like a plague like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I remember like when I was at work, like when I had the like 9-to-5 job and everyone was like, the millennials and like the like I was like, can you stop calling me that? Or like, and I mean, it's the same thing here. I think it's important to, I mean, I think sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I do think the onus is sometimes on the olders. Like, right, if you feel like something is going a different way or it shouldn't, like, I mean, it kind of depends on like your relationship with the people, right? So like, just like when you can be influenced by younger people too, right? For sure, I definitely am. I feel like I'm kind of like, I kind of fall in that like middle where I like, where I have like a lot of my friends that I started dancing with, or, when I really started taking it seriously, were like on the quote unquote like older side of generations, and then like when I was still around and still dancing, I like a lot of I was with the younger people, right? So like it takes like an openness to learning movement. But it does take some like seriousness, I think, and like discipline and like and kind of calling it out, you know, like you in a way that's like that's not disrespectful to like the person, but like kind of keeps them in check and like in the sense of like their art, you know, like if it's something serious, you know, or you want to take it seriously or discipline, like you kind of need to open your mind to more than just like what is cool, right?
Yeah.
Like dance cannot be, or art, long lasting art is never like a fad, you know, like it fads are fads because they don't last, you know what I mean? So like,
true. That's true.
So I think I think it's helped that I've had to teach this beginner hip hop class and like at Mason and like now teaching work with the majors. It checked the hell out of me because I did not know. I thought I knew and I didn't know anything, you know, like, so I was like, I have to actually do research like on hip hop and like styles and on cultures because like I'm now responsible for teaching people and they have to know, you know what I mean? So, I think if we take like, if we just gotta have a bigger perspective on like the people that we impact and who we see and like how people like take or respect like the art that we do. So if we really keep that in mind, then like if you're a younger dancer, like you'll strive to create stuff that's like long lasting, right? Or if you're an older dancer, it doesn't matter the age, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll strive to like communicate with like the older dancers. You'll try to keep that relationship because they are the knowledge holders. Like it's one of those things. It's not a textbook. You learn because you like communicate with people and you take from them and you go dance with them, you jam with them. So I mean, I kind of like where I'm at because I feel like I have a lot of relationships with people that are older than me and I value those and I value the relationships I have with younger people too. Like, and it kind of keeps me in touch, you know, with everyone. And it should be that way. It shouldn't really be divided by, you know, generation.
I think that's the key word, relationship. You know, yes, there's going to be that divide of old and new, but I think it has to it's a 2-part thing. Like, we as dancers, we have to reach out, I feel like, to both sides and to kind of find that medium to learn from each other. Like you said, like there's something I can always gain from someone younger than me, but also they have so much to gain from me as well. And there should be always an exchange, because if that keeps happening, it's instead of dividing, it's gonna just actually evolve rather than, you know, there's a lot of not just using the music example, like there's like on the younger side I'm seeing like there's like a lot of not wanting what the previous generations gave them. They want to start their own thing, but there's not a lot of like, you know, they can actually help you. You know, so that's I guess what I'm seeing from that. It needs to be a relationship with dance, like with people.
We'll take that as your final thought, JV. No, I didn't mean to think.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine.
Vic, you just kind of had one. Greg, are there any final thoughts in terms of dancer discrimination in general that you kind of want to say about it?
I'm thinking. I'm sorry.
Vic, is there anything anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think we gotta, I said it earlier, but just to reiterate, we have to remember like the seriousness of like of, you know, like how impactful dance can be. And it kind of honestly kind of relates to the video too. Like dance can be, and there's this like really cool TED talk too that I think I told you about, but it's like there's like the power that dance has to create like positive like social change, and like it's really cool. But we have to remember that, I think, even when you're teaching a class, you know, like even if it's like a one-shot thing that you have with someone, right? That experience can be like the one thing that inspires someone to continue that, but it almost never will work if you as an instructor or a dancer like are discriminatory, you know, like, or have like biases or keep someone out of something because of some factor they can't control, you know, like, so I don't know, just, that's it.
Okay.
Don't discriminate. It sucks.
Try and be as open as possible.
Yeah.
I guess. And open-minded.
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah, so I think
Ready?
I'm back. So with this discrimination stuff, I think it's just going to take again willingness and openness, and I think it's also about taking opportunity. You know, because there's so many opportunities to talk to someone that isn't like you. You know, go to events that you wouldn't normally go to. But there's just so many times where we're like, oh no, I'm just not gonna go, or no, I'm not gonna, you know, cast this dancer, or no, I'm not gonna watch this person in class, or no, I'm not gonna go to this event. But you know, those are the opportunities that we should start taking to build us, to bring us all closer together.
True.
You know, because that's all it's gonna take. Just remembering that we're just a unit. We're all dancers.
We're people.
Above anything.
Sure.
Troupe of individuals.
Quick question.
Nice.
Quick question for everybody, and trying to have quick answers too.
Gotcha.
How do you guys feel about select groups during classes? Do you think that helps discrimination? Do you think it's more beneficial for people not chosen to see, or do you think it's less beneficial? I dropped my pen. Because in my opinion, actually, I don't know. I can kind of see both ways here. But, you know, for the people that aren't chosen, they can kind of see, oh, that's how I should have done that, the choreo, or what I can strive for in terms of this one piece. But at the same time, they can be like, oh, now I feel like crap because I wasn't chosen and I didn't do it right. And now this class was a waste for me. And then for the choreographer or the teacher, they can be like, they could choose for different reasons too. Like, oh, I usually choose him. He's just a good dancer in general. He may not have done it the way I wanted it. I liked it. Or he may not have done it as good as some other people I don't know, but I chose him anyway. And let's start with you, Greg.
Sure. I feel like with select groups, if I've seen a lot of select groups where they just pick their friends, which is fine, given that your friends are showcasing what you were trying to achieve in class, what the lesson was. Do you know what I mean? Because as a student, I've seen many teachers pick their friends. No, it doesn't make me feel any kind of way because I know better and I'm stronger than that, you know. But there are a lot of students. Thanks. But there are a lot of students that don't necessarily feel that. Yeah. You know, I always just feel it's very important to, if you are going to pick anyone, that you give a reason why. Watch this, you know, just so it doesn't seem so pointless, which it never usually is. But you know,
yeah, gotcha.
I agree. You have to frame it. The select group, like I want you to watch these dancers because like this. I think because of this or that. I think a cool like alternative to think about, and I try to start doing this like with classes I teach on a regular basis, is like showcasing the way like a dancer does a move like during class, not necessarily being like, oh, this is like at the end. Here are the people that got the A. You know, like it's more like I'm trying to get this move. I want you to see it being done like this, and you're looking across the classroom, you scan, you see that one person, you're like, everyone stop. Look at this person. Do it again. You know what I mean? Like it to me, it's more that, and that kind of showcases like you're capable of doing it. Here's this person executing the move the way I want it to be done, in a way I think the way I want you to do it.
Has
right?
more purpose.
Yeah, it has more purpose. It creates that beast, the select group, where like people come to class to make a select group, and that is like, again, it's like the opposite of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like school. Like when you come, like you used to go. Sometimes you go to school and you just want the A versus like actually learning the material. It's the same. I think it's the equivalent. So, as long as you frame it well and you kind of the select group can be useful, but I don't necessarily know useful. I don't know. It can be very useful for the choreographer, but if you don't frame it well, then it might not be. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I guess the question was, is it discriminatory?
In a sense, yeah. You think it fosters it or not really necessarily?
It's both, I think. It's I think they both touched on it. It can breed really good atmospheres or really, really bad atmospheres for the dancers, but I think as a choreographer, as a teacher, we have to remember the purpose of our class. If we're teaching a class, or the purpose of learning the piece, I think, like Vic said, it needs to be framed the right way and why we selected these people or whatnot. But to me, I'm when I'm starting to teach, or when I'm continuing to teach, I'm tending to stay away from select group. I just kind of want to frame it in a way that my classes is about well, there's a goal in mind. And when I do select group, if I was ever to do it again, it would probably be if I'm holding an audition or if I'm like running a company again and I'm again holding auditions for like slots. Like that's when it comes technical. But I think as choreographers, we need to be mindful of that. Like why are you really doing select group? So
the framing of the reason again.
All
right. Well, that was fun.
Okay, we can breathe.
No, this is the
Topic 2. Since we do have 3 different generations of artistic directors here who all successed each other.
Yeah.
What?
I guess. Succeeded?
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. I wanted to touch on something relating to that and how they led Culture Shock DC, pretty much. So, topic 2, leading a professional dance team in general. So what's cool about these 3 is that they also, before they became the artistic director of Culture Shock DC, and even before they even joined Culture Shock DC, they were directors of their own collegiate team, Major Definition, Dynamic, Phunktions, all University of Maryland, different ones. But
Hey.
Oh wow, that's right.
FCA. FCA.
Yes.
Filipino
No.
group.
That's okay. So that's what's cool about that is that they've had lots of experience leading in general. So I have a whole list of things that we can go through, but let's start with the how of leading a professional dance team. So you can either talk about your inspirations, what inspired you, how do you direct? Do you have a personal direction or goal in mind, or do you incorporate everyone's? You can kind of do both. How strict are you? How open are you to suggestions? Like, is it this my way or the highway, or is it let's all come together and figure out how to lead this team together? That kind of thing.
Sure.
And how you even let's leave it with that. Let's start with you, JB.
No. I guess that makes sense. So, well, my experience with first starting, I guess I could start with Major Def. I didn't know what I was doing. It's the first of its kind in UMBC, and it was just a bunch of friends who wanted to dance. So I think when it came to that, we just wanted all of us to dance in something organized, and it actually stemmed from like just doing some culture dancing in the Filipino group, and then we just all decided, hey, let's all do this. So how we did that, it was just very camaraderie. Like we were very, very open to just like taking everyone. When it came to the professional setting and Culture Shock, how I approached my directorship was learning from my mistakes in my collegiate years. As okay, I found that empowering people was really effective. Learning how to incorporate people's visions into yours. And I mean, obviously you're gonna have to like weigh out like which is okay, I need this to be done and whatnot, but like for the most part I wanted to empower people, and what I was looking for in dancers, not just how dope they were, but there's 2 things. One was what is unique about them that they can offer on the stage, and what is unique about them that they can offer in the community as leaders. And those are the 2 things that I was looking for. So that's my directorship was very like very empowering. Like I just wanted to make sure you guys were getting the most out of it. And as you can see, my generations in the team was like kind of huge. So yes. I liked incorporating a lot of people. So what it was like, oh, I'm gonna send you out, James Wu. I'm gonna send you out, Vic, you know,
What's this guy's name?
Yeah, like they have different purposes in both on stage and off stage, and that's how I went about it.
Victor.
I think a lot of trial and error.
Wow.
A lot of at some point you realize that you just have to stick firm to a decision, and then deal with like whatever consequences happen, good and bad, right? And just kind of being like firm about it, because I think as a director or like a leader on the team, people kind of look for you to have like to have a stance on something. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I was really focused on, and it's funny because like I think I have learned better, but I knew when I jumped into it, I kind of didn't have like, what's my vision this year? I just jumped into it. We kind of all like fell into the position.
Yeah.
So like,
true.
I think if anything, I was probably the most prepared out of the two, because like JV was like, you're gonna do this, and I was like, okay. And then I like told Greg like, hey, I'm leaving. This is yours. But I think, and he was like,
Culture Talk DC, ladies and gentlemen. Culture Talk DC.
But I think, I was really focused on, I found myself being focused on the dancer as well, on the person, and really like making sure that I felt like maybe I didn't have the best, like artistic sets, but I felt really secure in like the ability of my dancers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they could go anywhere and they could do anything, and they were trying their best and they were working hard and they were open-minded. And that was really important to me, was that they got some kind of like development out of it, like for the dancer. Not that I didn't care about the performance quality as well. I love that, but I was more focused on the dancer. And so I tried things like, I started with JV doing this, but then I like really tried to incorporate it more, was like, incorporating the dancers like in the creation of stuff, like, or we're going to pick a set. This is our set idea, like, and we want to choreograph, like, let's at least like send this chunk of like the piece or the dance, like for us to create it together, and like, having people collaborate and things of that nature. So yeah, I think that's the how. And being really firm, I was kind of like, I didn't play either.
So
No, he did
And
not.
yeah, people didn't really.
Wow.
So if I was on your team,
we would have fought all the time. No. I just was really. I just wanted to.
I need to eat.
I just realized, like, I think if people are capable of doing some really amazing things, you just gotta be like disciplined with them. Like if you let them slide, people are gonna take that slack. And I'm the same way. I'm like, how much can I get away with? Like, and that's just how people are.
I wasn't.
So like if you aren't like kind of firm on that sense, then it makes things a lot more difficult later. So yeah, I was like, I wasn't a no nonsense. I played sometimes. Yeah. I played a lot, but I also was
sure did.
But I did hold people to like a standard, and I think they kind of knew that too. So I'll stop there.
Real quick before we get to you, Greg, were you under him also? Were you still on Culture Shock?
Yeah. So it was like, hey, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a seat.
Dude, I lucked out. I got really.
Because he was still around.
It was good to have him around. Yeah, and just be like, and look at him when you had the stress, and you're like, JV, and JV would just look at me and would know. I'm like, gosh.
It's like someone asks you a question, you're like, well, I think, and then you look at JV, and he's just like, I think we shouldn't do that.
I lucked out in that sense.
Okay, that's all I wanted. Because I forgot who was who. But anyway, yeah. Greg, you're how? What inspired you, etc.?
What inspires me? I like to think I'm a showgirl. I like to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think in my seasons I was very geared towards putting something on the stage that you've never seen before. Because I struggled with like, okay, well, what am I going to do that we haven't seen? Because a lot of things that I've been seeing I've seen before. So it took a lot of help from my team for sure. So it was very very collaborative, or at least I tried to be.
To an extent, you have to. At some point, you have to be the one who makes the call, because at the end of the day, if it sucks, you're gonna be the one who they're like, it sucked because of you. So no, I'm not considering that, but you
suck. I also think that I'm the good cop girl. Victor was very much not that kind of guy.
We were yin and yang.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'm good. I'm definitely a good cop.
Mhm.
I'm not very like.
I
Don't
just
think I
let
ever will
things
be.
happen.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
You get things done, but in a nice way.
Yeah, I'm a sweetheart. You know, I there are those bad cops on my leadership board, and I do have them to
Your
hold me
captains.
down. Mm-hmm. Shout out to William Miller. Shout out to Johnny Cardena. Shout out to Cameron Bennett.
shout out to Vic.
Shout out to JV.
Shout out to Russ.
Stop
Sorry.
eating.
Yeah.
I had to eat. Okay. I had to. There's no other way. Otherwise, I would have left for sure. Anyway, go ahead, Greg. Like your personal direction. So you were definitely more collaborative, you said. But at the end of the day, how often were you going to go with your decision as opposed to what, say, your captain's thought?
Sure, and it's something that I definitely struggled with in my seasons. It's something that I got a lot of flack on, admittedly so. Apparently there were a lot of times where I would open up the floor, what do you think about this? Very open to suggestions, but in the end went with mine, because that's what I felt was good. It's a tough balance to have, because some of their ideas may not fit your vision.
Yeah.
And then if you don't go with it, then there's backlash of, well, we don't have a voice, we don't feel included. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's a sense of a professional team. Like, how professional do you want to make it? Not in the sense of, obvious professionalism, but in the sense of, I'm the director and this is what I'm doing here. You're here because you auditioned to be on my team.
Sure.
Kind of. You can be as strict as that. I'm not sure if that's how strict you were, but yeah, again, I guess it's per director.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
it's per director
yeah,
and what they want to do.
Kind of let people this is what it is, and you can leave.
Because I've heard tales of certain or not even like in Culture Shock DC,
Sure.
but like wherever,
Mm-hmm.
where like you audition to be on their team and what they have is their vision and they're going to do it. And if you're not happy with it, then there's the door.
Yeah,
Sure.
Like, you don't have to be here.
You kind of relinquish a little bit of that, the little bit of say how or I want it done this way when you become a member of a team, right? Like especially when there's some kind of leader, I feel like you give then it doesn't work. Like the process is leadership is a process. Like where you relinquish, you put your trust into someone who's in charge or like the leader. And they put the trust into like the teammates. I was gonna say followers. It's like they're not the best word.
You are Moses.
Yeah.
You got
the teammates in it, and like it like reinforces each other, right? So like if if you come on a team and you're like, this is how I want it done, this is how I think it should be done, then like it does create a lot. It does create some issues, right?
Yeah.
There's openness. Like it's funny because I'm always fuss about being like, I want it done this way, but I think I was very open to like what people had to say. I always wanted to hear. I might have struggled with tact and like the way I said things sometimes, but like I think, back to the relationship thing, the people that knew me or like sought to know me and like, and the people I sought to know, like knew that they could come to me and talk to me like about whatever it was. Right. And I think it, in that sense, like, yeah, that.
Gotcha. So that segues into the what of this, what it takes to do it, the sacrifices that are needed, the support you need. And it's the support from your captains, and the trust that you have from your followers, your teammates.
Yeah.
And you the sacrifices. So it does the teammates when they join Culture Shock DC or any professional dancing, they, like you said, they relinquish a sense of their individualism and what they think, etc. But what does a director sacrifice to make everything happen besides time? Because I know how much.
Girl,
I was gonna say time.
Well, because time is obvious. Like you have none.
Sure.
Yeah.
Balance that with the rest of your life. Good luck. Right.
Sure.
Sacrifice your ego.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me personally, I know there could be some directors that's what they feed off. Like they need that ego or they need that affirmation. But for me personally, the way Culture Shock DC was set up is very communal. And so I sacrificed that. Like I was lucky. I had good captains with me that like keep me in check, or like I listened to them a lot too much in the beginning. but by the time at the end, like I think I did a good balance of like, okay, I'll listen to you, but I'm going to stick with my vision. So we got things going. But I think ego should, like, if you want like a, not necessarily a happy team, but like an effective team. You gotta sacrifice that.
Yep. What do you guys think of what other sacrifices are needed? Do you need to make besides time and ego?
Power, for lack of better words, like or like the decision making, like
authority.
There we go. Especially when you have like people like captains and stuff, you really got to utilize them well. But also like it in the sense like empowering other people to do stuff, like you have to like relinquish authority. Like that literally is what it is. Like I empower you because I'm helping you make decisions.
Delegation. Delegating roles.
To a sense, but like not even really delegating in the sense that like I want to incorporate you in this process. Like I'm letting go some of my power to make this decision so that you can feel empowered to make some of that decision. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like I think you have to, if you want your dancers to improve, like on a dance wise, but also in just in like creatively, like, or making stuff, or or making decisions, or like or you gotta let some of that power go. You have to sacrifice it. And it's actually like not that bad. It helps like to not sometimes when you're like not like when we do it together, then we succeed together and we fail together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But when you do it on your own, then you fail or you succeed. Like it becomes like
failed because of you.
Yeah. So. That's one point among others.
I feel like you generally just have to sacrifice fully yourself. You just have to give yourself up to the organization because it takes a lot. And I think a lot of people don't realize everything it takes. Of course you have to give up, of course, time, ego, power. What was I saying?
Giving yourself.
You gotta sacrifice yourself.
You have to sacrifice yourself. Here we are. Because it takes so much of yourself. It takes so much of your thought process. You think about Culture Shock DC every waking moment of your life. And it's tough. It's exhausting and it's taxing, You just have to give that up and understand that that's your reality, and that's what you have to kind of deal with.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is you need me to come back and fix everything for you.
Definitely.
No.
As long as I can eat on the side with you.
That is one rule I will have. Everyone, if you need to eat.
We tell them to eat. They just don't listen.
And then you just eat when you're supposed to eat, not when we're doing crunches on the side.
There is no time supposed to eat. It's freestyle. And then here comes choreo, and you have that time. It's like, all right, now we're doing conditioning.
Oh god,
I'm gonna die. This is it. This is how Russ ends. He disintegrates.
Disappears.
Moving on. What do you get in return for this? Everything that you guys did, you sacrificed for this. All the hows. Why you did it. Well, I guess we should do the why. Let's do the why.
Okay. Well, why did you
take on the role?
Okay.
Why did you do it? What motivated you to?
I can answer for all of us. We all fell into it.
Because I had no choice. Because if I didn't, then there would be no team.
Well,
no.
Let's start with Greg.
Okay. I did it. I think what was most appealing about it was because you have this responsibility to empower and inspire and motivate your whole community. And as big of a responsibility that's incredible, to be able to put a work on stage and then have youth, your friends, peers, other community dancers come up to you and your teammates be like, wow, that was amazing. I feel so inspired. I can't wait to perform on this stage next year. I can't, you know, this set made me feel great to go on stage myself. Like, that's incredible, you know. Before we go on stage, the first thing we start the circle with is our number one goal is to inspire. And I got that from Victor during his directorship.
Love you, Vic.
Love you, Vic.
I love you guys. I hate you.
I still love you.
I love you, Vic.
Yeah, so I've just gotten my heart has been really full since it started.
Nice. Well, are you done? I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's my turn.
Well, I'm also going to speak on behalf, like, this is going to sound weird, but like, I also, when looking to the next director, I really sought out Greg, because I saw like, it was just kind of like demonstrated ability. Did that make sense? Like, I saw him, like, I saw the amazing dancer he had become. I saw I saw the potential. I saw like how much he cared about the team. And I knew, like, bottom line, that was like what was one of the things that were like some of the things that were like really important to do the job well. So that's why I asked Greg to do it. But for me, I think I just like I really wanted to. There was a lot of weight of responsibility, and you could see like sorry, you could see there was just like. You impacted so many people, and being able to do that was like, I just wanted to take that role on and be like, and just help bring people closer to dance and like help dancers find themselves and like, and find a passion for it and a passion for like helping others. I know for me at that time I was working, like I was focusing on like nonprofit management too. And it like appealed to me that this was like a nonprofit and we were, you know, like, supposed to be doing a lot of service, like in that sense. So it would really, that was also a bigger appeal because it was like work. It aligned with like what I wanted to do in life as well. That and I had been captain for a couple of years. I was like, it's time to step it up. Like, it's time to do something different.
I want to make the calls.
Yeah, it's my turn. It's like, no, I'm kidding. It just felt right too at the time.
Gotcha. JV. So your first year you fell into it, but after that, pretty much.
Well, okay, so I guess I'll touch into like how it happened. Like it kind of every year I had a different reason why, and it kind of evolved. My first year definitely it's because like, oh man, like I fell into it, and I took it as like, okay, why do I want to do this? There's so many things that I want to change. There's so many things that we could make this team like, okay, it's not just a name. We need to make it like, I feel like this could be the be all end all for DC, for you to come, and this is a dance hub. This should be a dance hub, and I wanted to make it that. My second year then it started evolving. Like I wanted to make it into something, I guess, impactful to the community. Like, what can I do for the community? What's other things that I feel like this could be my calling? Like everyone should, to me personally, when you're going into life, like I feel like I remember one time me and Michael said like, everyone is born legends. It's just what you choose to do with it. And I think this was my calling. I feel like we need to foster this environment to other people. In my last year, the reason why I wanted to do it is because I wanted to pass it on. Like I wanted to make sure it's still growing and it's still thriving, and it just needs a little bit more like guidance and a little bit more to like really foster. And like Vic can tell, like by then I was trying to graduate from my Van Wilder years in college. I was working, and also like, hey Vic, what are we doing for rehearsal? I was like, okay, all right, cool. So it's just like, it just came to that, like I was just like comfortable like passing it on. So those are the reasons for doing directing CS.
It's cool. See, 3 different things. 3 different reasons. So now getting into what you get in return for this, the accomplishments or the legacy that you got from it. Take this as your final thought as why, what what you got from everything, your experience as in your current experience as Culture Shock artistic director, and are you staying next year?
Don't be asking me no questions like that. I knew you were gonna ask that.
Wait, is this how it's gonna go?
Hey, I told you, man. I'll come back. No choreo, just straight up freestyle.
Everyone's doing locking drills.
Turn it around. We're all eating. Yeah, right. No way. I'm on DanceFam now. Let's see. Who did we start? Let's start with you, JB. That way we can get the most current sense last.
It's funny and it's kind of ironic. My answer to this is because during the time of directing, I didn't get it, but now like after it's like I got peace of mind.
Wow.
Like it's just really cool to see what kind of conspired, whether people don't know or do know, like what kind of environment we built for them. And it was just like, yeah, we had a hand in it. We all had a hand in it. And I don't think if I didn't live here, if I moved to another like state and for college or whatnot, and if I actually pursued engineering, I probably would have not been as well rounded and have much mileage on my soul than I do if I didn't have dance. So that's definitely peace of mind.
Wow.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah. Good
Good luck.
Because this shit is not peaceful.
He's like still in it, so.
No, I think I definitely like just being a part of like the growth of like someone else, you know, like being a part of that process and like being like, and then being kind of a part of history, you know, like you think Culture Shock's, you get to look back and think about Culture Shock's history and you're like, oh, yeah, that year, you know, like when JV directed it, that year, like when Greg directed, when Vic directed, it's like really, it's cool to have like that kind of impact, like be like ingrained in history, like
yeah.
And I think, I mean, I learned so much too, like about myself, about, you know, from big things about like, you know, like what is dance, like what is like dance and how do I want to like, how do I see that on people and how do I like, you know, how do I get that vision and point across to little things like nonverbals and like, you know, sometimes I'm a smart at, you know, like things like that. Things like all these little things that weren't clear to me, all became very clear because I was like, you get put in that fishbowl, like where no matter everything you do, everyone's watching you. And so you just learn. So I think at that rate, you learn so much more about yourself because you have to be, for lack of better words, you have to be in check all the time or like, and if you're not, someone will check you really quickly. So like,
you're a figurehead. So.
Yeah. So, so that was really cool because now I think I look back and I'm like, I have so much experience from like running like a team of you know, like a troop of individuals and literally a troop of individuals, everyone having their own thing and their own like their own personality, their own like issues, their own life story. It's corralling that kind of group to be able to create something like you can do a lot of things after that. So as you've seen, it's been tough. So I think for me, those are a lot of like the cool things I got out of directing.
That's cool.
Nice.
Greg, what are you currently getting out of this?
I'm currently getting
no sleep.
Wow, say it again, Pastor. I think I'm getting a much better understanding of myself and others. I'm getting a better understanding of how I react under stress, how I react under no stress, how I interact with a group of people and individuals, how people's life stories can intersect with Culture Shock.
Sure.
And, you know, how that drives them in the team, how that drives them in the community. Yeah, it's you just have a huge opportunity to learn about so many people, you know, youth that you just get the stories of because they want to tell you because they love you, you know. I'm also getting a family, not just Culture Shock dancers, but I feel like I'm a part of this huge, incredible legacy of incredible directors. Do you know what I mean?
Legacy.
It blows me away that I think when I first got the position, it blew me away that I was going to be a part of this legacy that like that Victor had, that JV had, Joseph Nantanovan. Like I'm a part of that, and that. Whoa, that's crazy.
Margarita.
And it still blows my mind.
Shout out to Joseph
Margarita
Nantanovan.
too.
Yeah, Margarita.
And Margarita.
Wow.
And Christina.
Yeah.
And Christina.
All of
And that's
y'all.
the line, right?
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Yes.
Wow. And what a cool thing, you know. It's a
And then
blessing.
Russ after.
See you at December auditions.
That's cool. Yeah, like that's what I expected, I guess, for most of you guys to say, like the whole legacy aspect of things.
Sure.
Because I mean, just coming as a freestyle captain before there was even such thing as a freestyle director, because that's what I wanted, but it didn't happen for me. But it's cool that it happened now, and it's cool to see like that line of things before there wasn't even a separate freestyle team. It was the integration again, and then depending on the director, confused together, confused not. But then benefits of both, and we talked about all this already.
I mean, you get to think about it. You get like each person. I'll be quick. Each person is like
Broke my pen.
Like each person like gets to like you think about like you kind of like almost like have a way like your way of doing things or your like your practice or your style is like it becomes a thing. Like Greg's here directing like will become a thing like the way he directed the team. Like,
yeah.
You think about it and it gets referenced. Like it's really cool.
That's
like,
cool.
I think about JV. Like I think about it all the time. I would literally be like, oh, when JV, like JV's years, or like when JV, like, and that was a thing. Like that is a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And I love how me eating is a thing.
It's a thing.
Is
that
my culture shock DC legacy.
Yeah.
Forget any kind of freestyle
All the artistic
set or the exercises I made everyone do, or the tribute medley.
Sure. No.
Russ ate on the side during rehearsal, during conditioning.
Yeah, but I mean, like those things are like they're really cool, like to look back on, and hopefully, like like I'll get a say in that too, like or not a say, but like when Vic directed, and those are things that like that are cool to look back on, So
That's cool. Well, see that that's really cool, guys. I'm really glad to have all three of you here. JV's always here, but I'm glad to have you guys here. I've never seen, I guess, these three guys just talk about culture. In fact, I've never seen like a lot of people just talk about
this is
culture.
our first time having a full conversation.
Yeah,
about it.
it's interesting.
I mean, I always talk
Only
to Vic,
on Dance,
and
man.
I've always had conversations with these two separately, just not together.
I feel like yeah, same.
This is blowing my mind. I just need you to know.
So let's wrap it up then. Greg, where can people find you?
You can find me at XOXOGreg on Instagram, and I think that's it because I don't have a Twitter anymore.
That's fine.
XOXOGreg.
Vic?
Victor Aid, like Gatorade, but Victor Aid. Victor
Underscore, right? No?
Underscore. Oh, my jeez.
Wow.
Right. Underscore Victor Aid. VICTORADE.
Victor Ade. Oh, I've always pronounced it Victor Ade.
Yeah, because it's his last name. Victor Ade.
97.1.
Glenn Hollis.
Double entendre.
JV? Where can they find you?
I mean, it's not really a lot of dance related stuff, but on Instagram is VJJV.
And you'll find it down below, so you spell it. And I'm, as always,
Well done, that was a good one.
I'm Russ, aka Lock and Robin. You can find me at Lock and Robin. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, leave a comment. If you have questions for any of these guys, you can either find them on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, or leave a comment and and they'll respond. If not, I'll respond for them.
Speaking on behalf of Vic.
You'll get us caught up.
Or DanceFam will respond.
Cool.
Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for being here. This was awesome.
Thank
This
you.
was a cool talk.
Thank you.
Catch you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
Let's eat that burrito.